Redditors who have jobs that put you in a position to be hated. What's something you wish people would understand? As a lifeguard at a big water park, I don't make up the rules to keep you from having fun. Maximum height limits are there for a reason in a toddler area. Also, I understand little Susie may have mastered swimming 4 feet between you and your wife, but that does not mean she can handle staying safe in a deep wave pool in the middle of a wave cycle by herself. Put a life jacket on her. Most places provide them for free. I'd rather not have one rescue turning into 2 if something happens to you and she isn't supported by you anymore. I don't want your child to drown. I'm sorry you don't feel the same way. School admissions. I wanted to accept your kid. I see that every kid has value. I do. I'm sorry that we don't have room for your kid. I'm so sorry that your kid is heartbroken. When I suggested alternative paths for admission, I wasn't joking or being patronizing. I was being serious. Every rejection took a bit out of me. I agonized over them. I didn't last in this. Obviously, I cared too much. As a cashier, I have literally zero control over which items are stocked, which coupons are pulled before they expire, and what items are on clearance. In fact, as the customer, you actually have more control than I do. I also can't control whether or not the register likes your card, so don't give me the stink eye when it's declined. This reminds me of the glorious time a woman yelled at me for a good 10 minutes because the bread was 2 cents more expensive than last week. I'm a cashier. I didn't make any of the rules that stop you returning things, and I'm not willing to jeopardize my job by breaking those rules just this one time because in reality, people ask me to do it every day. Attorney here. Pointing out the flaws in your case does not mean I am taking the other person's side. You aren't paying me to be your cheerleader, you are paying to be your counsel. That includes telling you when you are wrong. Reminds me of when people hire Gordon Ramsay to fix their restaurant and then immediately become upset when he criticizes their food or their service. Teacher here. My job becomes easier when you do your job as parents. Don't blame me when your kid fails for not doing any work at all. Also, if expecting you not to turn around and talk while I'm teaching makes me a racist, then so be it. I'm a host in a restaurant. I'm literally the lowest on the totem pole. I answer phones and seat people. Yes, I understand we're on a wait and you'd prefer not to wait. Yes, I know that I have open tables. There is this thing called a false wait that my managers tell me to go on when the kitchen is crashing. If I sat you straight away there is a 95% chance your food will either be fricked up or you'll wait over an hour for your entree, which is wrong. If you wait in my lobby for 15 minutes so my kitchen can catch up, I swear you'll wait 30 minutes tops for that entree and it will come out the way you want it. Please don't swear at me. I rarely get support from the management staff and am verbally abused by them if you're seated before your little wait quote timer is up. Our kitchen is new as is the head manager and I wish it weren't an excuse, but please take this pager and I'll make some jokes with you to try to distract you. You've got crazy kids? I have extra crayons left over from Mother's Day and coloring books. My job is not a hard job. I just wish people understood that if it were up to me I'd seat everyone until the restaurant was full, and every time I get an angry customer that requires manager involvement I get scolded later that night for taking up too much of their time when kitchen was crashing. It gets to be stressful solely because no matter what I do I'm going to get yelled at. So please, if you are frustrated, write it on the receipt you'll get at the end of the evening or do a Google review. Tell me in a way that doesn't grab the attention of the entire lobby. Please don't swear at me. I'm only doing what I'm told. As someone who works in guest services at a company that values the happiness of the guest more than the associate, I feel you there. People never understand that I don't make the rules nor do I have any authority in these situations. I was an hour director. What I couldn't tell anyone was that I spent a great deal of time protecting employees from the owners. Let's double the employees' cost of health insurance. I'm going to fire our best supervisor because of an unsubstantiated rumor. Who cares if he's the only person our biggest client will work with? That guy's a complete dumbass. You better watch him, because the employee refused to work for the owner for free. You often hear that HR only works for the company, and that is basically true, because if you advocate for employees, you get let go and blacklisted, like I did. Thank you for being one of the good ones. Sorry you got blacklisted, but yeah, I'm kind of not surprised at this point. I have been a debt collector in the US before. If you don't like the phone calls, literally all you have to do is say do not call again and that should stop collection calls. If they don't, you file a complaint with the CFPB on them and that crap will get taken extremely seriously. And it's a rough job. By 4:30 PM I'm already pretty wound up and everyone in the office is super stressed. You can cut the tension in the air. Answering the phone by swearing your head off at me and screaming just makes everyone's day worse, including yours. We're people too, and we're doing this to pay bills. We don't do collection calls for kicks and giggles. Paramedic. I'm not a cop. Look, it's an ambulance, not a police car. I don't have to tell you anything. Says every loser everywhere. Fine. Then I don't need to do anything as long as you keep breathing. I never knew paramedics were hated. I also thought everyone knew that you can confess to being in possession of illegal drugs to most medical professionals and won't end up prison. You'll just get rehab. I work in a jail. I'm not the police officer that arrested you, I didn't sit on the jury that found you guilty, and I'm not the judge that sentenced you. I'm just a guy, locked in a room with 70 criminals, trying my best to keep order and keep everyone alive. I catch a lot of the frick the police attitude, but really, I'm just trying to pay my mortgage. This seems like such a good answer, but your username has me conflicted. P. Ex-casino dealer. No, I didn't control the cards. No, I don't want to take your money. No, I don't enjoy making you lose. My day is actually smoother and nicer when players are winning and happy. All of the above is null and void if you act like an and treat me like crap. Now I'm going to make it my mission to wipe you out. I'll deliberately alter the game pace to throw you off. While this won't alter the result of the hands, it will alter your betting style. Given the odds are in the house's favor, this just wipes you faster. I don't do tech support anymore, but I didn't personally build your PC, and no, I can't send you a new one because I'm not allowed to. The CEO will never hear about how much you dislike the brand, because I've never met him and never will. I don't care how much of our stock you're going to sell because of this. It won't affect my life even a tiny bit. We both have hoops we need to jump through here, and this will go a whole lot faster if you just play along. I want to help you, but jumping through the hoops is where we have to go. I work as a credit card fraud investigator. I used to take inbound calls from customers that are reporting fraud, but now I'm on the back end investigating said fraud charges. Do not blame me for rebilling you for valid charges. I'm very sorry you still owe $5,000 for the strip club you said you didn't go to. I'm very sorry that I got security footage from the strip club of you swiping the card and signing the receipt. I'm a receptionist at a hospital. We are almost always running behind because the doctor doesn't kick someone out when their scheduled appointment time is up. If they're going to take longer than expected, he will see them for as long as they need. Most good doctors are the same. Please don't yell at me because of the wait. There is literally nothing I can do. I'm a commercial pilot. I fly a skydive plane at the moment, but the same applies to pretty much any sort of aviation, especially the airlines. The pilots want to fly. The company loses money if planes don't fly. If a flight is cancelled or diverted, there's a really good chance it was for your safety. Note that I'm not defending all questionable practices airlines may participate in. When I was younger I dreamed of being a pilot. I knew all the commercial aeroplanes. I knew how they all worked. I was a whiz at aeroplanes. Then my dream slowly floated away and recently I've been wondering about it again. Quit because I couldn't handle it anymore, but I did cold calling market research for 3 years. When receptionists say he's not here or he's on annual leave or he's not in the office at the moment or any of the stock excuses, we are required to phone back at a later date. We can't kill the call that way. Just say we don't participate and we'll never call back. Don't leave wiggle room. Phone calls are monitored and we would be called out on it if we were killing too many numbers. I am that receptionist mindlessly repeating stock excuses. The firm I work at receives a ton of these calls. The supervisor who trained me always said, remember, these people are just doing their job too. Just always be polite and say that they're out of the office and would you like to leave a message. Of course some of the cold callers are extremely rude, though. I worked on 3 visual redesigns for Google search. There are a couple billion users beside you. Just because you don't like a change doesn't mean that everyone else hates it. These things are all tested very rigorously, with standardized objective metrics, and we really do try to keep the majority of users happy. It's just that you may not be in the majority. Every time Facebook makes a header change, my feed is filled up with how Facebook is slowly ruining the site. Sorry, it doesn't actually matter where the search bar is. You will forget in a few days. Software developer. 1. If you truly think your issue is so much more important than everyone else's that I should drop everything and do it right now, please talk to my project manager. I'm the wrong person to tell. I don't get to decide what I do with my time. 2. I don't do a crappy job. You only talk to me when something is wrong. Open source software developer. 1. If you truly think your issue is so much more important than everyone else's that I should drop everything and do it right now, consider paying me a reasonable rate to do it. No, $20 will not do. 2. C1. I don't care that it's your birthday. I'm not playing that 50 Cent song about birthdays. You should also note that song is about fricking a girl in a nightclub bathroom and never calling her again. Go shorty. I'm sorry you don't have the money to treat your animal, but we need money to do so. No, we don't trust you to pay us later. Every once in a while we capitulate for someone, and they never pay us back, and we will go out of their way to treat them as cheaply as possible. They still never pay us back. Never. I feel bad for vets. Every single one I know got into it out of passion, and I know having to say no breaks their hearts. Our vet will let us pay a balance down, but we've never stiffed them, and I feel having someone have my back when something goes sideways on the farm is more than worth what they charge us. I work in the oil industry where a small part of my job is taking pipeline emergency calls and locate calls. Whatever damage happened to the pipe I did not do. I'm here to get the right people there ASAP to fix it. The public's safety is my priority. Please stop yelling at me and just tell me your location and any information you have. Also, please call 811 before you do any digging, as it will prevent a lot of these emergencies. +1. I'm a locator. Contractors, excavators, homeowners, and locators can be humongous idiots sometimes. I used to work for a health insurance call center. The main thing I want to stress to people who call places is the customer service rep cannot control your wait time. In fact, when you get on the phone and be for 5 minutes about how you can't believe it took 30 minutes for someone to talk to you, that is literally 5 minutes you've added to someone else's wait time. So shut up and let the CSR help you with your problem and get you off the phone. Dentist, student, but still, that I don't want you to feel pain. My favorite part of the job by far is being able to stop pain, be it from cavities, infections, etc. I don't think people hate dentists. I think people hate going to the dentist. Slight, but important distinction. QA at a AAA video game company I won't name. People often blame QA or game devs for buggy games or bad design, but as far as I can tell, the great majority of the time that bug is there because the producer's higher ups didn't want to push back the release, or the designers is because of budget, tech, or time limitations. As far as I can tell, a game's developers and QA are that game's biggest fans, but they are slaves to the schedule, and that's what leads to poor results when they are not given enough time and or money. Just in case it's Bethesda, thank you for Fallout 4. Oil painter. The painting you want to commission will cost a minimum of XXX. At the end of the day, after materials, taxes, etc., I will make a whopping $10 HR on it at that price. Sorry you can't afford it. No, I am not just trying to make you look cheap in front of your spouse kid friends. The truth is, I would probably do it for free if life didn't cost money. I make precertification decisions about chemotherapy and radiation for a major health insurer. I want you to know, I'm a nurse, an expert in oncology, not some clueless yes man. I have many letters after my name to prove it. I read your entire medical chart and all of your doctor's treatment recommendations. You are not a number to me. I compare what is recommended against the very most current, updated daily, nationally accepted standards of care for your specific situation. If what your doctor has recommended is not supported by the most current data, it will be denied. This is not because we hate you, don't want to pay for it or want you to die. It's because your doctor has recommended treatment that is not appropriate for you. This treatment is not safe for you. You should be concerned by this and get a second opinion. We will very happily approve data-supported treatment, no matter the cost. You are a person and I want you to get better. When your treatment is denied, I do everything I can to help you get an approval. If you don't get well, I cry about it. This gave me many feels. Run bars and nightclubs, there is so many. It's not worth the risk to break any licensing laws as the fines and consequences outweigh the benefit. Just because you say you're 18 doesn't mean we will believe you. Bring it. The £20 you'll spend in here won't come close to covering losses and fines or elevating my headache of having to explain it, if caught. Prices are what they are because we have to make money to pay our bills. Margins are tight. Yes, you can buy a bottle of vodka for £10 in a store, but we have way more costs than they do. Way more, and actually if you didn't pre-drink and spent more, we could lower our prices. It's our decision if you're too drunk, not yours. We have to pay the fines and deal with the consequences. You don't. Someone has to be first in the building. If you walk into a club that opens at 10 PM at 10:01, chances are you'll be in an empty club. Give it an hour and the place will be close to full. Chill out. We charge on the door in nightclubs because some people don't drink in clubs and just dance, and clubs have more costs than bars do. There isn't an easy way to say you look like a scumbag, you look like you'll start fights later, you look like you'll cause me problems. I've just seen you pee in an alleyway and think that's gross. So you're not coming in, your dress sense is terrible. I've met you before. I don't like you, you look like a sex pest. So sometimes we just say, not tonight. Door staff are legally allowed to forcibly remove you from the building. And yes, they can restrain you until the police get there. No, that isn't them being too rough. And actually if you didn't pre-drink and spent more, we could lower our prices. You could, but I don't believe for a second that you would. Sick relief mail carrier. I saw an image the other day where someone wrote on their mailbox, "Are you a freaking idiot or do you just not give a crap? Not you regular mail lady, we love you." The regular mail carrier is likely to blame for the sick relief not delivering the correct name to the home. She had memorized informations of who actually lives there and neglected to update that information for others who may need to carry the route in her absence. It must be really difficult to cover someone else's route. Obviously you're not going to be as efficient as the carrier who has memorized all the quirks and details over the course of years. I'm an automotive technician. If I recommend a part for your car, it's for your own safety. Don't BF me because I tried to sell you tie rods. Your steering is fricked up and it will fail. Have to take my car in for the first time in a week for a recall job. I'm nervous for some reason. All new experience to me XX. 7 years I worked customer service for 2 major banks. I didn't want the bailout. I didn't get any of that money. In fact, raises were frozen for 2 years. I don't make the overdraft policies and I freaking hate them as much as you do. Cut-off times are real and they will frick you. And I wish I could do what is right, but my hands are tied by technicalities and I have bills to pay too. I feel so much better after quitting. Don't know what took me so long. Working in banking is terrible. I worked in restaurants through college, worked in banking finance for 10+ years, and finally quit to open my own business a couple of years ago. If I ever have to go back to work for another company again, I would rather bus tables than take another position in the banking world. I don't really know if my job fits here, but I get a lot of hate for it, so I'll contribute. I'm a stripper, and as you know, people don't think too highly of strippers. I wish others would understand that it's just a job. I'm not a party girl. I don't do drugs. I'm not a single mom. And I don't sleep with customers. I'm completely normal outside of work. Calling me a disgusting W is inaccurate, but it won't bother me because you better believe I've heard that and worse a million times already. I also wish the customers would understand that it's my job to flirt with you. If you don't tip, I'm not going to hang around. I'm not going to give you a free dance or give you my number so you can receive nudes. You wouldn't expect someone working for Apple to fix your phone for free, so don't expect me to do my job for free. I'm not a money hungry yes for refusing to do so. I'm also not about to blow you in the bathroom for $20, $100, or any amount of money, so stop asking. Unfortunately though, there are lots of people do expect Apple to fix their crap for free. Once we close the bar, I'm legally not allowed to serve you anything else. Not even just one more. Not even a little one. Not even if you're going to take it home. Not even if you've asked me 8 times already and you're now shouting at me in a drunken, frothing fury. Second to that, I'm sober. You're not. I'll remember what you called me next time you come into the bar. I work in event ticketing. We use Ticketmaster. 1. Yes, I know fees suck. 2. Yes, I know that fees suck. 3. No, I can't do anything about IT. 4. If a show sold out, you were too slow. Scalpers are a part of the business, and there's nothing I can do about them. Don't blame me for your inability to get tickets. Blame the fact that more people wanted to see the show than there were tickets available. Blame the fact the artist is popular. 5. If you have a problem with your tickets, talk to someone. We will bend over backwards while you're here in the building, but afterwards there is much less we can help you with. Refunds are pretty much out of the question for 99.5% of cases. As a construction worker, I'm not really hated. I am, however, looked down upon because I'm dirty, sweaty, and doing extreme manual labor. No, I'm not a piece of white trash with a drug alcohol problem. I make good money doing what I do, and I don't have to be locked up in an office slowly losing my freaking mind day after day because of my lack of sunlight exposure and extreme stress over student loan debt. Is my job perfect? Number. Have I ever come home stressed out about my job? Number. Web developer. It's not my decision on pricing. I hated it as much as you did and I'd love to do it for free, but I liked my wage. This was when I was employed. I'm not going to give you 50% because the original developer you paid so much for did a bad job. I have bills. I'm not being a butt for chasing payments, late fees. I make schedules that work with my other clients and my own payments. Just because you couldn't be bothered to get a payment made before X day isn't my problem, but in doing so I get my own late payments that wouldn't have been if you paid on time. Yes, I usually have a buffer, but sometimes you cut it close. Granted, there's not often I'm hated, normally just seen as I'm making a seemingly simple issue an expensive fix. It might seem simple, but really isn't done right. I'm an RA. Most people like me, but the problem residents are the ones that don't like me. I'm in the National Guard, ROTC, the president of a couple clubs, and I'm just trying to pay for school, so I could really care less what my residents do for the most part. But I wish they understood that when they're smoking weed with the windows closed, no fan on, in the middle of the day, that I kind of have to report them. They get pissed at me for calling the police when I lose my job. Thus, half my cost of school. If I don't report blatant idiocy, they'll weed themselves out though. At least that's what I tell myself to keep from strangling them. Weed themselves out. Nice. Designated mental health professional. I do evaluations for emergency 72 hours mental health holds, detaining people to psychiatric facilities. Sometimes people get sick, have no insight into their mental illness and are at serious risk and need to be hospitalized. Sometimes your friend, family member, etc. is not living the life you want them to live due to their mental illness. That doesn't necessarily mean that I legally can detain them to a psychiatric facility and force them to get the treatment you want them to have. People have the right to be mentally ill and seek or not seek treatment in ways that make sense to them as long as they are not an imminent danger to themselves, others, and are not so sick that they cannot meet their basic needs. When I say I can't get your copy job done right now, it's because there are people who submitted jobs before you. You know, first come first serve and all. If it's super fast and easy, go ahead and use our self-serve machines. That's what they're there for. No, there aren't little robots in there stealing your identity. Your credit debit card is just freaking fine in our self-serve machines. I don't make the POS system super slow, and I have to ask you if you won. Have a rewards card too. Want 1 3. Want a digital receipt 4. Will give us your email. If I don't ask this crap, my job is threatened. It's not like I give a crap. As a matter of fact, whenever I ask these things I am thinking, please say no. Say no. Say number so I can't enter the extra long line of customers piling up behind you. Also, corporate makes my ability to help you substantially more difficult because 1. Our computer sucks. 2. There are 4 different ways for me to find your recently submitted order, and there is no telling where I should look first. 3. Every freaking job needs to be submitted through our kiosk, which requires me to enter, at a minimum, your name and phone number. I think it's stupid. 2. Especially when your total is 0.12 cents and it's taking me longer to enter the order information than it did to print your order. 4. I have 3 different computers that I'm required to use for one single order, even if it's only one print. First, I need to plug your flash drive into one computer and print from there. Second, I need to go to another computer and create a job ticket. Finally, I need to ring you up at another computer. This is all a huge waste of time, but corporate is too busy getting $500,000 bonuses on top of their $200,000 salary to give a frick. Good lord. If you don't have your it, but your older friends or whoever does, and you want them to buy something for you, don't let me see you hand them merchandise or money. If I see that, then I can't sell to you. If I do and a manager sees, I can lose my job, and I just can't afford that right now. No amount of bitching is going to change that. I'm a corporate lawyer, so everyone assumes I'm evil incarnate. I wish people understood what I actually do. 1. I spend most of my time advising companies on how to obey the law. This is actually much harder than it sounds because companies are subject to this insane morass of regulation that no human being could ever hope to read through in his or her lifetime. And half the time the regulations are so poorly written as to be nearly incomprehensible. Occasionally one agency's regulation will literally contradict another's. 9 times out of 10 there's little to no case law out there explaining the obscure regulation we're worried about, or else the case law will vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, creating problems for companies with offices throughout the country. It's a mess, and I help companies navigate the minefield. 2. I spend the rest of my time defending companies when they get sued or cited. People who give me a lot of flack for this one, but that's usually because they assume that a corporation must have done insert a bill thing here, simply because it's a corporation, which isn't the case. Sometimes companies are at fault, and sometimes they're not. My job is to tell the company's side of the story and let the jury or judge make the final decision. That's it. Our justice system ensures both sides get an adequate defense regardless of how popular the person or the organization, and it's my job to help provide that. I'm actually a pretty nice person. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.